Hello and welcome to the Daily Show KE. So basically, this is about all the things that are happening in Kenya, Africa, around the world. And so, welcome to the show. So now we'll begin. First of all, you have headlines in Kenya. So you have President Ruto allies that is talk recklessly about securing President Ruto a second term. That is President Ruto allies talk recklessly about securing Ruto a second term. So basically, what is it? And of course, we now know that the Gen Z movement did not die down, and indeed it will continue to percolate through all sectors of society. And of course, and then I think President Ruto just has to deliver on the real things that are pertinent to the Kenyans. So basically, I just hope that the president will be in good stead so that, of course, they say there has never been a one-term president in Kenya. So basically, as they say, there is no way President Ruto is going to be a one-term president. But the way to do that is to be able to deliver on the promises he made to Kenyans. To be a president of the Mamambogas, of the border riders. That's the promise that President Ruto made to these people. He made that promise that basically these people it will be a bottom-up economic model because we have been used to a trickle-down economics, so it is a few billionaires that get rich, and then of course it percolates down to the average person. But of course that seems not to be working, and of course Kenyans are angry that basically things are not working. Look at overtaxation until the president has been renamed Zakayo. Basically, this is about overtaxing Kenyans. But I think no country in the world, I think for President Ruto, he should have realized no country in the world ever develops by taxing its way to prosperity. No country taxes its way to prosperity. The way to ensure prosperity in the country is to ensure that basically all things are met. Basically, we make it easy for businesses to be able to do business, so that they can then create the clean, decent, rewarding jobs that will bring everyone to the tax bracket. So that's make more people pay, but then reduce the percentage of payment. I think that is what I think even Senegalese Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko was saying in an address to a Senegalese parliament. He was saying that basically make all Senegalese pay, but then reduce the rate. So we have a very thin tax base in Kenya, and of course, I think a lot of businesses are closing down. I think President Ruto has commissioned a report on basically what that is why businesses are leaving Kenya. You don't need a report for that. The issue is that the businesses are being overtaxed. That's just the issue. The businesses are being overtaxed. You look at companies such as Cadbury Chocolate. It will now be manufacturing in South Africa, so it has just retained a small office in Kenya where it will be doing marketing. So basically, you have engineers, technicians that were employed by Cadbury Chocolate. They will no longer be employed. So that's something we should take note of. That is businesses leaving Kenya because of the high cost of doing business. So if you thought the Gen Z movement was strong enough, look at the Generation Alpha movement. Look at Generation Alpha. Basically, I think you've seen the viral video that has gone viral. Basically, saying tuliahidi tutapatiana bilioni 50 kwa mama mboga na bodaboda, tutawatoa kwa Fuliza, tutawatoa kwa CRP. And look at that viral video. Basically, Generation Alpha is saying, move over Gen Z. Generation Alpha will even fight for the ideals of democracy. So basically, that just shows you we still have a long way to go. And it will be about demanding for accountability, about demanding that effective change is realized. So that shows you we don't need a task force. Kenya basically is not heading in the right direction. I think a lot of Kenyans feel the country is not heading towards the right direction. Then another thing that pops up basically this week, you have Nicholas Kioko being called out. That's the celebrity couple, Nicholas Kioko and Wambo Ashley. If you know now they're an online couple. But of course, for online couples, sometimes you don't know whether it is love or whether it is just for content. So basically, you have Nicholas Kioko, his sister, calling him out that he did not help his niece, that is the sister's daughter. So basically, that is Nicholas Kioko took over. I think it was Tracy and Jessica. So Jessica is from Wambo Ashley side of the family. So they came over to stay with the Kiokos. But of course, then the issue is whether they should have been paid for content, because they did a lot of content. So should Nicholas Kioko and Wambo actually have paid for doing that sort of interview content? Maybe they should have been given something small for the content that they were doing. Maybe I suppose that they should have been given something small for the content they were doing. This is why then issue about rights, about copyrights, maybe they did not sign any agreements. So of course the sister said lipa finusu ama nitoe video. That's what the Kioko sister said, lipa finusu ya Tracy ama nitoe video. And I think then Nicholas Kioko could hear none of it, so then said to hell with that. Then another issue that comes up, then someone has moved from 284 marks, that is 284 marks to straight A's of 84 points. So it's 284 marks is just about someone that scored a C, so has moved from a C to an A plane of 84 points. So that basically is shows you that however you perform in KCP is not indicative of how you'll perform in KCSE, or which is also not indicative of how you will perform in university. So basically we are seeing that the KCSE results were released, and of course there will be more people that really want those results released, so that then we see, of course, a lot of students are going to choose medicine, engineering, law, and commerce. So those are the top course choices for a lot of the star performers in KCSE. But then there is another issue. A lot of students have set top students have set their sights on going to college in the US. So basically, a lot of students have set their eyes on going to college in the US. So why is it? This is brain drain, the departure of the best and brightest brains from Kenya and Africa, to the West. So basically, I think according to the Nigerian American Philip Emeagwali, he says that Africa, of course, he co-invented the supercomputer and by modeling it after the bee honeycomb and oil rock. So Philip Emeagwali says that Africa will still be poor even if $1 trillion was poured into it, since it has no intrinsic value. So all the top brains have left. So basically, that's just the way it's going to be. And I think our top brains have always left the country to study. Look at in 1989, the top student was Naim Samnakei. The top student in 1989 was Naim Samnakei. He went to he is now a doctor in Australia from Alliance High School. 1990, the top student was Fred Were from Sarajevo Boys Center. He went to study at I think in the US. Is now a doctor. In 1981, the top student was among the top students was Humphrey Watanga, who briefly enrolled at the University of Nairobi before going to, I think, Harvard University to pursue biochemistry. Then went to the insurance industry. Then in 1993, the top student was Gilbert Tengeta from Mangu High School. He went to pursue, I think, engineering studies in the US. Then in 1993, the top student was Wanyaru Kashieri, who went to Harvard, is now in Wall Street in the financial sector. 1994, the top student was Kirimania Murithi, who went to, from Alliance High School, who went to study at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology through a full scholarship in 1995. James Mwangi, among the top students from Madarasa High School, he went to Harvard to study economics. He is now an engineer, a management consultant in Dalberg Consulting in South Africa. Then in 1996, one of the top students was Nathaniel Choge, who went to study in the US and then came back and then is a financial consultant in the US. Then in 1987, the top student was Mwashu Manyata from that is the Alliance High School. He went to study at Harvard University, became a Rhodes Scholar. Now he works for SoftBank. In 1998, the top student was Timothy Dairo. He went to study that is at Harvard University, computer science. He now works for Microsoft. In 1999, the top student was Samuel Gikandi. He from Alliance High School. He went to study at Massachusetts Institute of Technology to study computer science, and of course he went to work for Morgan Stanley, came back and is now I think founded Africa Stocking and also is a board member of Stanbic Group. And then in 2000 the top student was Hashim. He went to study at and that is from Mango High School. He went to the University of Adelaide and is now a defense systems engineer for a space defense company. Then in 2001, the top student was Amit Monga from Starehe Boys Center. He went to study at McGill University in Canada. He is now a software engineer there. In 2002, the top student was Paul Bundi from Kenya High School, and I think he was the first one to study in the country. So that's it. Now then we look at the issue about Moi University. Is Moi University going to crumble? Basically, Moi University is going to crumble, and I think it's something about all our universities. Basically, now 246,000 students have qualified to join university. So what next for them? So basically, I will hope that the government has a funding plan for them. Remember, they removed a very able Professor Labanairo. The leaders from Wasingishu kicked him out. Why? Because he's not a Canadian. So you can imagine the kind of tribalism. You would have thought that higher education, people are principal, they have been elevated. And when you see professors behaving this way, simply because Labanairo was not a Canadian, so he was kicked out of Moi University. So he is now at Daystar University. So basically, Moi University brought this problem on itself. Basically, poor management. They refused to lead a vice chancellor from because he was not of the right tribe. And so when you have the rot even among the intellectual base, so what sort of a country do we live in? What sort of a country do we live in when you have a professor being kicked out simply because of his tribe, because he was not from that tribe? So basically, this is something you would have expected with politicians, not with the people with intellectual men, not with people with a professor kind of environment. So I think that needs to change. I just think that this was quite unfortunate. So that's it then. And now I will, that is the collapse of Moi University. Of course, you have to talk about the tribalism. Then you have to talk about adequate funding. Our universities are merely elevated high schools. As more and more people gain entry into university, our universities are merely elevated high schools. So 25% of students scored grade C plus and above. And I think the education minister says that they will all go to university. They will not raise the minimum a grade for university, so it will continue to be at C+. So I think that just shows you that we need to elevate the status of our university. So that's it. Then I will move over to that is in Africa, Chad ruling party secures parliamentary majority. That is, Chad ruling party secures parliamentary majority. Of course, it is the son of the former dictator Idris Deby. That is Mahamat Deby. That is ruling Deby Itno. That is ruling the country. So you can see power being passed on from father to son, and that's the problem with Africa. Basically, we play our politics around family and nepotism, around tribalism, and that's why Africa does not go hard. I foresee maybe it is the hand of France that did that. So you can't have basically in Africa, and I think again in Africa the difference between the ruling party and the opposition party is not in ideology, but in the tribe and region where they draw their support from. That's just the nature of African politics. That is the difference between the ruling party and the opposition. Is not in tribe, is not in ideology, but in tribe and region where they draw their support from. So we need to fix our politics. Let's have politics based on issues. Why don't we have interrogate the infrastructure plan of our politicians, political candidates? Why don't we interrogate the healthcare plan, the education plan? Why don't we interrogate? We just look at the Senate and we think that basically if they have the right surname, then we elect them, and then when they reach in the office, they don't do anything because we say even if they are bad, but they are one of our own. So that's something that again we need to look into. That is basically not looking and not basically not that is not having politics based on ideology. I think in every African country, we just need two parties alone. We need a right of center and left of center party that's about equality of opportunity, where we bring everyone to the same starting lineup through better education, high quality education, business capital available. Because remember, now wealth is intangible ideas. Basically, wealth is now intangible ideas, and parents are bequeathing their children now not with physical wealth, not with old money, but with a high quality education. That's why education is so much more important, high quality. So that we need two parties, one a left of center party that's about equality of opportunity, and then the other party we need is a right of center party that's about individual dynamism. That is maybe about empowering the creative genius so that then they can maybe begin their company, so that you have business capital available. So we need you pull yourself by the same water. So that's it about Africa. Then in ideas there, what is the route to the CEO corner office? In ideas, what is the route to the CEO corner office? How do you get to be promoted in a company? So basically, I would think that the route to the CEO corner office, there are three ways. One, have a credential from my university with a forbidding entry criteria. That is, have a credential from my university with a forbidding, from an international university with a forbidding entry criteria, the likes of Stanford, the likes of Harvard, the likes of MIT, the likes of Yale. Maybe that's how you get to be CEO, but of course, so that's just one of the routes. So they say people don't go to Harvard because of the education. You could get that education anywhere, but they go to Harvard because of the connections they make. It's because of the connections they make. So basically, you're likely to meet a future president, a future CEO, a future billionaire entrepreneur, a future Nobel Prize winning scientist. So basically, you go to Harvard, you go to Yale because of those connections, and maybe if you have a credential from an international university with a forbidding entry criteria, then you will be able to have basically you will be able to have a country that is based on rules, and I think that's the way to be able to develop. That's the way to be able to become a CEO. Then the other route to the CEO corner office is about maybe that is having a finance cost cutting guide, so that and then you know how to save money, because every company at its onset it must be financially viable. That's how you get to you cannot be a company and not make profits. Otherwise, why would you exist in the first place as a company? So no matter its mission, every company has to make money and basically has to make profits. And if you have a background as a finance cost cutting guy, maybe that's why lots of accountants get to be CEO. That's why maybe the big four auditing and consulting firm, that's PwC, KPMG, Deloitte, EY, they have, and that's why they have, and that's why a lot of CEOs come from that background. So I will say that basically what we need then is to have finance cost cutting guys, so that then the relations between those companies, then the relations between those companies, they can, the relations between those companies, they can and then make it able, because you have a degree, a background in auditing, a background in finance, and that is how you will be able to get and rise to be the CEO. So I will say that basically that's the second route to being the CEO of a company, that is be a finance cost cutting guy. Then the third entry, the third way you could be CEO of a company is basically to be proficient in a company's core area of operation. So basically, this was the normal route in the olden days, basically, where you had the managing director instead of the CEO. So basically, you could start from the factory floor, know how to fix cars, basically start with wiring, start with knowing how to fix cars. Then eventually after 20, 30 years, you become the CEO of General Motors, you become the CEO of Chrysler, the CEO of Stellantis. That's how you get to be the CEO, and that is how you will be able to rise a company. But this is becoming extinct. So basically, of course, a lot of CEOs now are paid $1 million salaries. So we should be able to exclaim on how then we can make we will be able to develop. That's how we will be able to develop companies that that is CEOs that are basically are able to steer their company. So basically, that's it on ideas. That is the route to becoming to the CEO corner office. And then in the Making America, who will be the next leader of the Democratic Party? Who will be the next leader of the Democratic Party? So basically, who will be the next leader of the Democratic Party? Will it be Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? I think she's being touted by so many to be the leader of the Democratic Party. Remember, Democrats win elections by being likable. Republicans win elections by being who they are. That is, Democrats win elections by being likable, while Republicans win elections by being who they are. So basically, Democrats have to do more. They pander to the billionaire class. You heard Bernie Sanders say that Democrats cannot pander to both the billionaire class as well as Democrats cannot pander to the billionaire class as well as the working class. So they have to choose one side and stick to that. So Republicans, you had Donald Trump being elected on the basis that he will be good for the economy. You had even the labor unions refuse to endorse Kamala Harris. That was a gain for Donald Trump, because traditionally the labor unions have been a party, have been a core group for the Democrats, but this time they did not endorse a lot of candidates. So that's why then it became hard for the Democrats to be able to win over elections. So I think right now the Democrats are in a bit of an identity crisis, and I think they will need to do more in order to be able to have what it takes to be the party that can return to power. So of course the Trump now will get to be the first American president since 1882, or that is Grover Cleveland, to have two non-consecutive terms in office. And I think also in Africa we are having the same president, John Mahama of Ghana. He also is the first African president to be elected on two non-consecutive terms. So that's it for now. that's it for now. And then, of course, in Africa perspectives again, in Africa Press Review, President Museveni's son Quiz X, he has written a series of posts, and of course, he is fighting Bobby Wine because he wants to be the successor to President Museveni. So basically, that's it for now. That's it for now, where I have looked at Kenyan politics ideas, where I looked at now they say I think a lot of strong men are basically in isolation, and then of course you have the problems at more universities than in Africa. And then the Christian sisters have set their eyes on going to American colleges, and then of course you have in Africa, child ruling party secures parliamentary majority, then President Museveni's son quits X, and of course in ideas, what is the route to the CEO corner office and in remaking America, or who would be the next leader of the Democrats. So bye for now, till the next time, bye for now.